I didn't expect my entire outlook on life to change because of an old lady and a busted suitcase. The 8:15 a.m. train from Chicago to Denver was packed, and I was already sweating by the time I boarded car 7. My backpack was too full, my coffee had gone cold, and I had work emails blowing up my phone like it was Judgment Day. I'd saved for this trip for months, a week away from code, deadlines, and my unbearable boss. All I wanted was the window seat and silence. But when I got to my seat, there she was. She stood barely 5 feet tall, hunched slightly, her hand gripping a floral cane. Her suitcase was stuck halfway into the overhead bin, one wheel dangling like a loose tooth. She turned and smiled, soft, uncertain. "Oh dear, I think I've made a mess." People behind me sighed loudly. The guy in the row across the aisle muttered something about delays. I could have ignored her, pretended not to notice, but something about the way her eyes flickered with embarrassment made me stop. "Let me help," I said, dropping my backpack. It took some effort. That suitcase was deceptively heavy, but I finally wedged it into the bin. She thanked me with a kind of quiet grace people don't use much anymore. "You've saved me a disaster, young man." I smiled and moved toward my seat. "That's yours?" she asked, pointing to the window. I nodded. "Well, I think I may have accidentally taken it." I glanced at my ticket. She was right. My seat. Her mistake. "It's fine. I'll take the aisle." She looked up at me like I'd just given her a gold medal. "You are a very good man. You remind me of my son." I didn't say much after that. I put in my earbuds and stared at the passing fields. She offered me butterscotch candies 3 times in the first hour. I took one on the third offer. It tasted like childhood. She asked what I did for work. I told her I was a software engineer. She nodded thoughtfully, like she understood, even though I doubt she did. She told me she was going to Denver to visit her daughter. She's busy these days. We mostly text. When we passed a wide lake, she gently tapped my arm. My husband used to fish in places like that. He'd sit for hours and come home with nothing, but he always swore it was the best day of his week. There was something so tender about the way she said it, like the memory still lived close to the surface. Eventually, she fell asleep mid-sentence, her head resting against my shoulder. I let her sleep. Something about her presence calmed the storm I'd been carrying. When the food cart came by, I bought her a tea without asking. When she woke up, she seemed surprised. "For me?" "Of course." She smiled. "You know, people don't always see old women. They see a cane, or a delay, or a problem, but not a person. Today, I feel like a person again." And for some reason, that hit me harder than it should have. By the time we crossed into Iowa, the sky outside had turned pale blue, dotted with clouds like scattered paper. The rhythm of the train had started to feel like a lullaby. Eleanor, she told me her name after the second candy, leaned back with her eyes half closed, humming softly under her breath. I didn't know the tune. We were approaching the halfway point when the conductor came by again. He was tall, middle-aged, with wire-rimmed glasses and a calm voice. "Ticket checks," he said, moving down the aisle. When he reached us, Eleanor sat up a little straighter. "Good morning, Mr. Adams," she said warmly. The conductor smiled. "Mrs. Mayfield, always a pleasure." They clearly knew each other. After checking her ticket, he paused. "Would you like me to help with your bag when we get closer?" She nodded. "And would you mind giving this to the young man here?" She handed him a folded note, yellowed and fragile like parchment. The conductor turned to me. "From her," he said simply, passing it over. I unfolded it carefully. The handwriting was elegant and curved like something out of another century. "To the one who chooses kindness without reward, you are seen, you are rare, and you are about to find out just how rare." I blinked at the words. They didn't make much sense. It was poetic, strange, beautiful. I looked up to ask her about it. She was blonde. I turned my head quickly, scanning the car. One of the attendants must have helped her toward the dining car, or maybe the bathroom, but I felt the absence immediately. The seat beside me was cold. The rest of the journey passed like a dream. I kept the note in my jacket pocket, fingers brushing it every few minutes like it might vanish. I couldn't explain it, but my heart felt heavy, not sad exactly, just changed. When we arrived in Denver, I stepped off the train expecting nothing. Maybe a deep breath of mountain air, a call to an Uber, a week of solitude. Instead, I saw my name. A man in a black cap and uniform stood near the platform exit holding a small sign. "Mr. Carter?" I hesitated. "Yes? I'm here on behalf of Miss Eleanor Mayfield. She asked me to pick you up." He gestured toward a black town car parked nearby. I should have said no. I should have asked 100 questions, but instead I nodded and followed him to the car, the note still burning in my jacket pocket. The car wound through winding hills on the edge of Denver, far from the glass buildings and traffic noise. Every turn seemed to pull us deeper into a quiet world. Tall pine trees, wildflowers blooming in bursts of color. And finally, at the end of a long gravel driveway, a house. But not just a house, a 3-story stone mansion framed by climbing ivy and windows that reflected the soft gold of the morning sun. An iron gate had opened before us without a word, and the house loomed like something out of a storybook. The driver pulled up to the front steps and turned to me. "You'll find everything you need inside." I stepped out, blinking in the bright light, gripping the strap of my backpack. The door was already open. Inside, the house smelled of cedar and something floral, lavender maybe. The floors gleamed. A woman in a gray suit waited near the foyer. "You must be Mr. Carter," she said. "Miss Mayfield asked me to deliver this." She handed me a folder. I opened it. "Mr. Carter, if you are reading this, you've arrived. I'm sorry I disappeared without saying goodbye, but I found that some of life's most important moments happen in silence. The home you are standing in, the books, the studio, the lake nearby, are mine. But for as long as you need it, they are yours. I was once given a kindness by a stranger when I was young and afraid. It changed my life. I've spent years searching for someone who might carry that same light. I believe you do. You owe me nothing. Just do what you do best. Notice people. Help them. And when you're ready, pass this along. Eleanor Mayfield." I stood there, stunned. The assistant showed me to a guest room with a view of a lake that shimmered like glass. There was a library with floor-to-ceiling windows and an old writing desk, a garden with roses so red they looked unreal, and a plaque on the wall near the door, "Let no kindness go unseen." That night I sat by the fire, Eleanor's letter beside me, a notebook in my lap. I didn't write code. I wrote something else, something honest, something kind. And for the first time in my life, I believed, truly believed, that what we do in passing can echo far beyond what we ever see.